Yeah.
I think this is a really talented roster, man. You think about the amount of different players that we're talking about here who really potentially are going to make an impact. Defensive line, offensive line, depth. We haven't even talked about A.J. Brown. We haven't talked about Devontae Smith. We haven't gotten into any of that stuff yet. There's really no excuse for this not to be a really good team, especially when you consider this schedule. They
have enough.
Yeah. Welcome back in, everybody. Hope you're having a great Friday. We are having fun here. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis hanging with you for 3 hours of power. We're talking to Barrett, who was at Eagles training camp today, giving us the down low on everything that was going on. Barrett, I saw there was a great shot of Jason Kelce. You know how they're wearing those new, I don't know how new it is. I think it's been a couple of years. They wear the pads over the helmet now.
Right.
Did you see Kelce? Kelce had bubble tape around his helmet just to have a little fun with it. Check it out.
Right. He had bubble tape on top of his bubble helmet.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, so he's still coming back. They call it COVID progression, whatever we're calling it now. So he and Fletcher Cox are coming back from that. They're feeling great. They just want to make sure they're 100% physically. So they were limited in practice. Zach Pascal's still out. He had food poisoning, which if anybody's had it, man, it ain't fun.
I've been there. I've been there, brother. I've been there.
The worst. Okay. So we all feel your pain, man. So he'll be fine, but they're just laying low with him a little bit till he gets all his, stamina back. All right. So I thought this would be kind of cool, guys. We did a sort of something along these lines earlier, but let me throw one more thing at you, Barrett. One of the other recurring themes here is some of the older guys really mentoring the younger guys.
Yes.
And I know that happens a lot, but look, we all know there's also players who are insecure and don't want guys stealing their jobs and all that. I'll start with this one. Kelce today talked about how unbelievable, and he wasn't the only one. Lane Johnson did too. How unbelievably athletic and smart Cam Jurgens is. Like Kelce was basically like, yeah, that's the dude I saw on film and why I recommended him to the Eagles. But Lane was also like, this dude reminds me of Kelce, man. Like he got really high praise today, Cam Jurgens.
Well, put it like this. I did not know that he wasn't practicing during the team periods because he looked that good. He looked that good out there, snapping the ball, getting up on the second level. Head placement was impeccable. He's a national dude too. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna bring his lunch pail to work every day and fight you every single play. And that's what you love in a player like that. So you can definitely see that he's gonna work very, very well once Kelce starts. Kelce feels like he wants to hang him up.
Yeah.
And by the way, these guards better make sure they get on their stick too because he could come in and play guard.
Didn't I say that when they drafted him? I said there's a possibility they can move this kid to guard and get him in the lineup sooner rather than later.
Yep. So Sam, but I will tell you this though, Sam Malo looked absolutely magnificent at the guard position too.
Oh yeah, really? Okay.
He looked really, really good, stable. Looks like he lost a little weight, cut a little weight, moving quicker, looking a little more explosive. So it's not like the young guys will come in, Jurgens will come in and just take his position. Sam Malo looks the part. He looks like he belongs right there. That right side is looking pretty good.
This line, really if they stay healthy, man, could be nasty.
It don't matter if they stay healthy or not because everybody's looking good.
Yeah, no,
they have a lot of great mentor / coach / players out there. The Brandon Grahams, the Lane Johnsons, the Kelces, the Darius Slays to help teach these young players.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many good Fletcher, Javon Hargrave. They have so many good teachers out there for these young players to make that transition or to get acclimated to Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen's system and what's expected of them, man. You can't put a value on having an abundance of players out there coaching players up as well. I've said this many, many years. There are a lot of times, and I think Barrett will attest to this, there are a lot of times players listen to other players better than they listen to coaches.
Yep.
It's so true. It's like when you tell your kid something, they listen 100%. To a friend. A kid will tell a friend will tell a kid the exact same thing you're trying to beat into their heads. They don't hear you, or they want to.
Or a friend's parent will say it. And they'll listen to that. They won't listen to what you tell the kid.
They want to debate you.
Yes.
Right. But it's a perfect example of that. Every single offensive lineman jumps the snap count like Jason Peters did. They didn't learn that from the offensive line coach. They learned that from JP. They learned a jump setting from JP.
Wow.
So I mean, it's Coach Stout has acclimated it to the rest of the players, allowed them to do it. But all those players watch film, talk to JP on how to do that.
Yeah.
Even in drills, they do the same exact thing. If it's on set hut, all those players are going on. As soon as they're jumping, they're going. And, that's just as a testament to them listening to JP, looking up to JP, knowing that JP eventually is going to be a Hall of Famer. And they all do it. They all do it.
And he loved being a mentor, by the way. Like, I know people got kind of tired of the Jason Peters thing at the end, and it was probably time for him to move on. But in addition to being a great player, you ask Big V and a lot of those guys who went on to have, leave and have success and get paid, a lot of it was Jason Peters, But I'll tell you, the overriding thing is that speaks to a good culture for this team. But go ahead there.
Yeah, the funny thing is Jason Peters, he didn't care much for talking to the media. But I can't tell you how many guys talked about the wealth of experience he relayed to them in terms of helping them be better pro football players. JP was an incredible teacher for a lot of these young guys here. He wouldn't give you much when he talked to you on camera. He wasn't going to say much. He was going to toe the company line. Every now and then, after a game, he would speak with emotion, give you something that you hold on to, gravitate towards, using conversation for post-football shows. But, man, the dude, it was a wealth of talent. He was never worried about anybody taking his position. He was always there for players. And I think players coming up behind him, like the Lane Johnsons and players like that, saw that and said, you know what? I got my money. I've got my recognition. I've got my Pro Bowls. You know what? I want to keep this train rolling. We got to keep this train rolling, So, and kudos for JP for instilling that in an offensive line group.
Yeah, no question about it. Hey, let me give you another one that I found interesting. We were talking about Hassan Reddick a little bit earlier. So EJ Smith for the Inquirer, who guested the show a couple times. We've had EJ on. Hassan Reddick's up 12 pounds. He's up to 247 from 235. And, he says, he was at 255 at one point. He said, I'm more comfortable right in the 247 range. I haven't lost any speed or any agility. And he thinks it's going to really work well for him this year. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, does that tell you he's going to be less in coverage, B, if he's up to, put on 12 pounds there? Or does it not really calculate either way?
It means he didn't want to get tossed around as easily. That 10-pound makes a lot of sense, if you're going to be playing a lot of 4 down on nickel situations where he's going to be rushing the passer. They're not going to put him in a lot. Everybody's overblowing he's going to be back in coverage. No, they didn't pay him to cover. They pay him to rush the passer. So they're going to try to get him in that position every time they can. There might be situations where he's stuck, and he has to be that drop linebacker. But for the most part, he's going to be dropping. He's going to be, rushing the passer from that outside Sam linebacker position. Trust me.
I can also, I can see him in situations where they use him as a decoy, Barrett. He takes that first initial step like he's going to pass rush because the line is shifted to his side, and the strength of the line is shifted to his side. And all of a sudden, you got a back end like a Nakobe Dean or, T.J. Edwards or somebody coming off the backside, one-on-one coverage. And if they feel that guy can beat the guy on the other side, I can see them using that to their advantage as well.
Same thing they did with James Harrison.
Yeah,
the same. James Harrison and Joey Porter. A lot of times, line would just slide the line to him the way they would have an offensive tackle manned up on him as opposed to having a linebacker or a tight end. But what gets you is that those circumstances right there where he can look like he's rushing, and as soon as they slide that line, that leaves one-on-one running back with one-on-one with the running back on a guy like BG or Sweat, or even Derek Barnett. I like those odds even better than having Hassan Reddick on the tackle.
Yeah, I think this is a really talented roster, man. You think about the amount of different players that we're talking about here who really potentially are going to make an impact. Defensive line, offensive line, depth. We haven't even talked about A.J. Brown. We haven't talked about Devontae Smith. We haven't gotten into any of that stuff yet. There's really no excuse for this not to be a really good team, especially when you consider this schedule. They should
have
should
enough.
Yeah.
They definitely have enough. You look at their roster. Howie's done a great job of bringing guys together, and now it's up to the coaches now to have those guys mold and be who they want them to be as far as players. And a lot of the earners, I talked to Shane Steichen today. He likes what he has. You know what I'm saying? He likes what he has. Anytime you can have a coach be in a position where he feels comfortable with the players he has, there's nothing for him to go out there and get plays going to really maximize their potential as players. You have players in the building. That's half the battle.
Yeah.
A lot of teams don't even have the players in the building to try to execute any type of scheme.
That's right.
They now have those type of players in that locker room that all they have to do now is just, hey, let me get these guys and put these guys in the right position so they can execute and be as good as they can be. They have those type of players.
Barry, how active is Sirianni on both sides of the ball and or special teams too? Is he almost strictly with the offense during these drills, or is he all over the place?
All over the place. All over the place. Majority of the time he's with the offense, but he's all over the place. He's looking at everything. He's looking at special teams. He's looking at, you name it, he's looking at it. So, he's in a great position right now to really be that manager as a head coach, a managing, delegating type of figurehead in this organization. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm good. I have no problem with him turning that over and wanting to be able to concentrate on all areas. I think it's a sign of security.
He talked to everybody, Rob. He talked to everybody. He's already talking to the DBs, talking to the linebackers, talking to the O-line. You leave guys alone. You know what I'm saying? Let them coach. But you can delegate. Something not happening. You can go to, hey, man, we got to get this going. What are we doing over here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm excited for this. All right, let me throw this at you guys because we did this a little bit earlier in the year, but I want to do it again. I want to just kind of run a couple different names at you. Eagles futures, meaning, do you think there'll be Eagles in 2023? Okay.
Ooh.
Miles Sanders. Is he back next year? I don't think he is.
Rob, you can't just be throwing this on us like that, man.
All right, I'll let you guys think. I'll say I don't think so. Even if he has a good year, I don't think they're going to want to pay a running back that kind of money. I think he probably walks unless they get him on a crazy cheap deal in season if he starts the season off well. If not, I think he's gone. I think it's more likely he's gone than back.
You're right, man.
I think it's based on how many games he plays. I think it's based on the durability for this year. If it's similar to last year, I'll say no. If he can find a way to stay healthy for 17 games, and I'm not even saying 1,000-yard rusher, if he has like 1,500 total yards, I think they'll find a way to get him in because he won't command high dollars. He won't command top dollars like a lot of running backs will. I shouldn't say a lot of running backs like some running backs will because the prices come down a lot for running backs in the National Football League. So I'll say that if he has a decent year like that, 1,300, 1,500 total yards of offense, I think because he's still a young player, and he'll be in the third year in Nick Sirianni's system. I know they like him, and I think they'll try to find a way to get him back in here.
Okay. That's interesting. All right, I'll throw another.
It's really tough for me. Hold on.
Go ahead.
It's really tough for me because especially what I saw in practice today, with they're just as comfortable with having other backs in there, and not and when you look at that type of situation where if they're really really comfortable with going and having guys run the rock like they did, when you were comfortable with Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell to come in and you don't miss a beat, that doesn't bode well for you. It doesn't bode well because it's a contract year. That means you have to go all out. They're comfortable with putting Kenneth Gainwell in there. They're comfortable with putting Boston Scott in there. And I'll tell you what, Jason Huntley looks just as explosive as ever now. Speed is there. So when you're that comfortable with the guys you have behind you, it's going to be tough for you to get that money that you think you need and think you deserve.
I'm with you. All right. Let's let me hit you another one. Fletcher Cox.
Fletcher's unique because can he get over? If he can get double digit, can he get double digit
That's gonna be tough, man. I think it's gonna be tough to get
Yeah.
double digits
for the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? He's used to making double digits every year.
Yeah.
So how do you ask a man with, you know, the talent that he has to not want to get double digit money this year? Fletch, he won't get as much money anywhere else that he'll get here. This is his best place to get that big money that he's looking for. But you know, he's gonna have to ball out. He's gonna have to show that he deserves that money that, you know, he thinks he needs to pay. So does he have that ability? We'll see. 'Cause I don't know.
I think he wants to finish his career as an Eagle too, which maybe, you know,
hometown discount,
a little less money because he still got paid pretty well this year. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah.
For a long time, people thought Brandon Graham every year was gone, you know, and Brandon Graham is still here at the age of 34. When the Eagles identify certain players they like because of not just their productivity, but because of their locker room presence as well. Now, obviously, Fletcher is not as outgoing as a Brandon Graham, but he serves a purpose under two coaches, and Doug Peterson and now Sirianni. And both coaches have said the same thing, you know, and both defensive coordinators he has played under said the same thing. There are a lot of things that don't get put in the stats that we ask Fletcher to do that doesn't allow him to pile up numbers like quarterback sacks and tackles and stuff like that. And so that's identifying that he has a specific value to this team in terms of how they build around him. If it comes down to hometown discount, yes, I don't see the Eagles paying him another $14 million to stay here and play. If he's willing to give this team a hometown discount, I think he'll be back.
Okay. All right, let's move on here. I think he's gone after this year. I don't think they drafted Milton Williams and Jordan Davis to keep paying him a ton of money. I just think it's probably time. I'll throw Hargrave in there then, guys, because I think he's more likely than Fletcher to be back, and I think using, you know, the multiple fronts really helps him too. I think Javon Hargrave is in for a really big season, but so I think he's. Yeah, go ahead, Barry. I think he's likely to be back next year.
Yes, I think he is because he's played and flourished in both systems. The system he was with Pittsburgh is virtually the same system that he's going to play here this year. You know, you look at it, he's played the 3-4 system, which he has a 2-gap. It took him almost half a season to convert into a 1-gap, get up the field, create havoc type of player. Now he'll be able to go out and do both because he's done it consistently. And I think, you know, that really shows his versatility as a player. So they're going to need him to come back. They're going to want him to come back. He's that good that I think they will bring him back.
Yeah, and they like having depth, man. I know that, you know, Davis and Milton Williams are there and there's others, but I think they like having that kind of depth. And a lot of that's going to depend on the contract. They gave him a good deal when they signed it for Pittsburgh. All right, Jason Kelce.
Oh,
I'm not making it easy on you guys today.
Wow.
No, you're not. Not at all. That's a curveball. You shouldn't even
Well,
I think that one's totally in his court, but go ahead.
Jason Kelce handpicked. Jason Kelce personally handpicked who he feels his replacement should be.
True.
Based on what we've known, Jason Kelce is the one that pushed Howie Roseman and the organization in the direction of drafting Juergens. Kelce has kind of alluded to the fact over the last 3-4 years he had contemplated retiring. How old is Jason Kelce right now?
34. I'll pull 34. It up. I think he's 34.
So let's see. He has his ring, has his money. Jason Kelce is at that point where he's going to start like a lot of linemen. I want to enjoy a quality of life. I want to be able to play with my children. I'm leaning more towards this could be Kelce's swan song.
Okay, he is 34, by the way. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, Barrett.
I think this is going to be his last year. Like I said, he picked this heir apparent. He's still having fun playing football. That's the only reason why he's playing now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's having so much fun. But I say halfway through the year, when that fun stops being fun and it starts being you're being held together by bubble gum and duct tape. Mm-hmm. When you got to super glue your knees together, then things are going to change in his mindset. You know, like, oh man, I don't know if I could do this another year. Mm-hmm. He has a smaller frame. He's a smaller frame than most guys. Mm-hmm. Can he do it? He's happy. He's having a great time right now. But will he be having that same great time halfway through the season when he's in that, when he's in that weight room lifting because he can't afford to lose any more weight? When he has to go in the treatment room and ice his entire body because it's about to fall apart? Is he going to be happy that the night before a game that he's taking stuff that to keep from hurting so much at night?
Right.
That's when things start to really become clear for you. It becomes real clear for you.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. All right, let's I got a bunch more. We'll table that. We might hit it a little bit later. We might hit it next week. I don't know. We'll see. But coming up, we have Mike Sealski. We'll jump around. We'll talk birds with Mike. Will the Sixers – there's a lot of debate whether or not the Sixers arena is actually going to happen at 10th and Market. We'll talk to Mike about that. We'll talk some Phillies. He's got a new gig. We'll get into that as well. So we got a bunch to do. Everybody take a quick breath. We'll come back with Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let me tell you about my friends at Pro Action Restoration. You got a home, you got a business, you have a property of yours, and you've experienced water, fire, smoke, mold damage to said property. You know how scary that can be, right? And you're not really sure exactly what to do. But Pro Action are the people that take care of this. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I've gone through this personally, and I can tell you with their crew, they are professional, they're clean, they get there right away, and they are reasonably priced. They also, and this is another great thing, they work in conjunction with your insurance company. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades, so they are more than reputable. Whether it's water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call today, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.